the main reason why I stayed anonymous was like I wanted to be anonymous towards everyone, and I can, I guess, spread my feelings without feeling any pressure. And
Right.
I feel like I started like as I slowly like let my friends into my life as juuku, like I started feeling more comfortable talking about my feelings um with other people. So it was definitely a lot of beautiful like rehabilitation, I guess, mentally.
Bringing it backwards.
Thanks for doing this, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. I accidentally put my full name in the beginning, so
It won't show up.
okay, cool.
I know you like to keep yourself secretive. That's why you got the mask. I like
Yeah, yeah, a little bit.
I dig it though. It's cool.
Thank-
Yeah, so I'm Adam and this is about you and your journey in music and we'll talk about the new songs you have out.
oh, hell yeah. Sounds good.
Sweet. So well first off, where were you born and raised?
So that's actually a secret.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But I can let you know where I lived um 70 for 7 years before I moved out. I lived in New York for a good amount of my time. I spent a lot of time like just finding myself there, and I guess trying to figure myself out as an artist. So yeah, New York was a huge part of I guess my place as an artist.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So now I'm gonna if I ask a question like that and you're like, that's confidential information, just let me know because
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
I
all good.
do we do a lot of back history. So if you don't feel yeah, if it's part of the yeah, if you don't want to let it out, that's
Oh
100%
yeah,
cool.
no worries, no worries. Most of it is just like location stuff, so
Uh,
that's
all right,
everything.
cool. Cool. What about a musical household? You come from a musical household?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with my parents like listening to oldies. My mom was a singer, so was my dad. I couldn't sing, thank God for auto-tune though. I could songwrite decently, but not yeah, not a singer. But
Okay.
yeah.
So they're singers. And what about you? Where'd you start off in music? Where you did they put you on piano lessons or anything like that growing up or no?
Yeah, yeah. So I started with piano lessons as a kid, and like I didn't really pick it up really well. And then yeah, I think around like 2013 or 2014 when like Big Room came out, awkwardly, I wanted to like I was super curious on how like a lot of the sounds were made. So I pretty much just tried to reverse engineer all like all the songs that were out at the time. Like I think Animals was the first one I by Martin Garrix was the first one I tried to reverse engineer.
Oh
And
wow. So you were just hearing you were taking the songs and then trying to figure out what kind of put that together and make this song happen.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I do that a lot with everything in life. So I guess that's how I learn a lot more than like
Interesting.
sitting in a classroom.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like the classroom is becoming like a phased out thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But especially with the internet and everything else these days. But so when you moved to New York, did you move to New York in pursuit of music or was it just I want to New York's where I want to be and then that's kind of where you found
Yeah, honestly, it was a big part of it. I think the first reason was I was really in love with New York. There was this time where I was going like twice a year for vacation, and it was getting expensive to the point where like if I just lived there, like
save
I
some
might as well
money.
just do that, save some money. And I did make a big leap going over there. I did have a A&R friend that kind of showed me the ropes in terms of like how to make music correctly or just like have a good feel for what sounds good and stuff. And he was based in New York. Dave Rishti, who was that person, and he kind of helped me guide my way in trying to find like my strengths and weaknesses and how to improve and stuff. And as I lived in New York, like the energy is always like hustle 24/7. There's a
Sure.
lot of great like creative writers, artists like across all I guess platforms of artistry. So
Mhm.
it was great just like being around that energy.
Yeah, and were you, like, writing your own songs at that point? Like, were you using I don't know, were you using, like a Logic or like Fruity Loops, something to start producing? Is that where you kind of got,
Yeah, yeah.
your feet wet as far as that went?
Yeah, I started on Logic, and I pretty quickly moved to Ableton. And that's pretty much where I got my feet wet with mostly everything. But yeah, like it was definitely a crazy experience just getting started.
Yeah. And then putting out music for the first time, what was that like? I mean, you finally have something. Were you like prior to releasing songs or putting out your own music, were you DJing
Yeah,
clubs and stuff?
yeah, yeah. So I had a project before this, which I'll keep a secret, but yeah, I had like pretty much a release every month. I did some shows in New York every few months. Nothing big, of course, but yeah, I just spent a lot of time. I was kind of all over the place as an artist. Like I was jumping from genre to genre, and my branding was kind of like off. I felt like I was kind of, I guess, finding myself.
Hmm.
Um, and I went through a lot, I guess, mentally during that time, just because I couldn't find my fit. A lot of my friends were like playing festivals and shows and stuff, and I barely get like an opening slot locally somewhere. So
Hmm.
it was a lot of imposter syndrome and stuff. And um, but yeah, thankfully Juku came along and things started to come together a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that must have been difficult to, kind of break through that and continue to go, right? I mean, a lot of people at a certain point just like, okay, this isn't working. I'm gonna give up. But how did you kind of persevere through that to continue to do what you're doing and then obviously become successful at it?
Yeah, honestly, like I noticed I get really depressed when I don't make music and I don't work on anything that has to do with a music project. Like there's a couple days where I'll go without making music, and then I'd feel really crappy about how I am and who I am. And I guess out of like after like a few months, I just realized that I really have to like just continuously make music. And I think that's kind of what drives me, on top of being now like I'm able to connect with artists and people just through my music. That drives me a lot as well. So it's a mixture of me doing this because it makes me feel whole, and to make other people feel whole as well.
Yeah, and you can hear that, especially in the earlier songs that you've put out. I mean, Finding Myself, even the whole album Warmth, I mean, Healing, you have all these songs about kind of that self-reflective, uh, I feel like at least,
Yeah, yeah, thank you. I think that's mainly because the reason why I started this project is I had a lot of trouble expressing my emotions outside of, I guess, outside of myself. Like I internalize a lot of stuff, and I think it's because like I grew up in an Asian household, and us like being an Asian household, like you're mentally stronger and just strong appear a lot stronger if you hold in your feelings and you don't show any, like, I guess, mental weakness, I guess. So I grew up like that, and I internalized a lot of my feelings anytime I felt insecure or depressed or any of that. Like I wouldn't tell anybody. And a lot of my friends, like growing up, shared the same, I guess, way they were being raised.
Mhm.
And um, I would never confide in my friends and vice versa. And so like with the last music project that I made, I couldn't do any of that. And one main reason that I started Juku was like, I was like, yo, I can make an anonymous project and talk a lot about all the stuff that I went through growing up, and um, even the stuff that I'm going through right now, and not feel pressured to I guess have any like weight towards my real identity. And it just like continuously blossomed, and I was able to like make songs about certain pockets of my life where like my friends died, one of my friends died, or like my grandma died, or like just me dealing with like imposter syndrome and stuff like that. Like I felt a lot more free to express myself. So yeah.
Yeah, you kind of you're able to be vulnerable, but also kind of protect yourself in the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of my first like posts on social media was just pretty much that. Like I would just like do like a brain or emotional dump of like just everything um that's kind of like been internalized over time. And I guess it really connected with people because a lot of people as well like internalize a lot of their feelings. So yeah,
Oh,
I spent a lot of time wearing my heart on my sleeve. I still feel like I do. But yeah, it's definitely just been an amazing experience, just not only to like be able to find myself and be able to express myself. And my some of my friends know who I am as well as Juku now. Um, so
oh
like
wow. Was that like did you do this kind of 100% anonymous? Like you were just putting
yeah,
it up and not even telling your friends that it was you?
yeah,
Oh wow.
it was like two people in the world that knew, and then like I slowly told people as things like progressed, I guess. And then yeah, pretty much almost everyone in like my close friends circle knows now. So
Wow, that's interesting. So like once you started doing well or having success and no one knows it, then are you like, oh yeah, this is me? And they're like, no way. Like what?
and it was tough because I was like, okay, like I'm usually every other day I'm dumping a lot of emotional thoughts on Twitter and Instagram and all this stuff. And like the main reason why I stayed anonymous was like I wanted to be anonymous towards everyone, and I can, I guess, spread my feelings without feeling any pressure. And I
Right.
feel like I started like as I slowly like let my friends into my life as Juku, like I started feeling more comfortable talking about my feelings um with other people. So it was definitely a lot of beautiful like rehabilitation, I guess, mentally.
Yeah.
And it definitely like kind of made me stronger as an individual in my real life, to be able to know that like people can go through shit and still be strong just
Sure.
by confronting it.
Yeah, because I bet you know you're being really vulnerable, and because you know that no one knows it's you doing it, and then obviously now you tell a few people, and then they know, so it's like, and then they could go back and be like, oh, you know what that's what he's talking about. But to 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 let people know, I'm sure that was freeing in a sense too. Like, okay, like the secret's out, at least to these few people.
Yeah, for sure.
Were you doing a lot of live performances prior? I mean, I would say prior to like the lockdown stuff, before you started really releasing music as Juku, were you doing performances under that name? And like, were you able to navigate that with your friend group?
Honestly, it was before lockdown. Juku, I think Juku started around like 2019. I just spent a lot of time working on music and teaching myself how to learn visuals. I pretty much made a visual for each song uh,
Yeah.
ever since the genesis of Juku. So I focus on that a lot. I didn't get a lot of shows just because I was still up and coming, and I was focused mainly on that. But yeah, I think what picked up was after or during or after lockdown. Like I was releasing 2 songs a month and 2 visuals a month along with that. And I got to get on a couple really nice live streams. Like Brownies and Lemonade had one called Open Docs, and really thankful for them for doing that. And then I started getting show offers. I did my first headline show after COVID, which was pretty crazy. And then,
Hmm. Yeah, you
um,
did that at Mercury Lounge, I think I saw. Or is that a different one?
yeah, that one's a different one. The headline show that I did was the one in Houston.
Oh,
That was pretty much my debut show. And then the one you're talking about is a co-headline with Squire, who's also one of my
oh
best.
yeah. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. So
Wow. I mean, to get a headliner, not even I mean, to do one in Houston, that must have been, I mean, that's huge, right? I mean, it sounds
yeah.
like you were in New York at the time and traveling to headline a gig.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, I'll never forget that show. And I actually met one of like my best fans over there. She actually tatted her wrist, my name on her wrist like the day before. And
Damn.
it was crazy seeing it in person. It was just, I think that was like the moment where I was like, oh shit, this is actually impacting people. And
Yeah, instead of numbers on a computer screen, it's like this person has my name tattooed on their wrist. Like that's huge.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so then you are continuing to release music. Like what was the next success that you had after, doing the headlining shows and putting these songs out? And I know visuals are a big part of this. Is that something you've always been interested in as well? Like that
Yeah,
media or
yeah,
that like
yeah, for sure. I feel like when anytime I make music, a lot of my creation involves me imagining a whole storyline, and I'm a very visual person when I'm like making music. So anytime like I'm creating a synth, or like I try to get emotional with some chords, like I try to put myself in some kind of, I guess, video game like 3D world in my head, and I try to like paint something out. And um I think when I before I launched Juku, and I was like in the midst of um getting ready to, I got really curious with Cinema 4D, which is a 3D rendering software.
mhm.
I just started like doing little doodles and scribbling around and finding tutorials, and things start like I was able to pick it up pretty quickly by reverse engineering a lot of project files and like teaching myself that way. And I've after that, like I really decided to make this an audio visual project, because I feel like the experience um, with just listening to music is only half the experience for Juku. So
Yeah, it's definitely like immersive. So with like your live sets, do you bring like a projector and play, like have a visual thing behind you as well?
yeah, yeah. So what I do is I most of the time they have like a LED wall or like a projector, and then I'll work with a VJ. I'll usually just cut up a lot of my visuals into like sections and drops, and I'll hand it to the VJ and just let them know like, yo, you can pretty much do whatever you want. I organized it into sections and drops. It's pretty easy to transition between the two.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's
That's cool. I bet that's a fun piece of it as well, like being able to put together the videos and the
yeah,
visuals.
yeah. It's pretty fun. Like there's sometimes where like I'll turn around just to see how the visuals look, and I'm pretty like excited just to see it uh, like just live. It brings like so much joy to my face anytime.
Yeah, but nobody can see that.
Yeah, yeah. They can only see the eyes.
Right, right. That's awesome. So do you have an EP you're coming out? I know you've just released a handful of songs, and the cover art is similar. So sometimes I just gather that it might be a full project coming out, or
Yeah. Yeah, it's an EP that I'm releasing with Dim Mak. It's called Lavender Dreams and Scarlet Nightmares.
mhm.
Uh, Basically, the premise of it is I discovered I had synesthesia, which is being able to see different colors when
Oh, with music.
yeah. So like
Oh, wow.
yeah,
I've just recently heard of this, but you
yeah,
have it. That's okay. I want to hear about this.
yeah. So like sometimes when I'm producing, like I told you how I try to imagine a 3D world,
Uh-huh.
I realize a lot of my visuals in my head are either red, which is like scarlet, and then purple for lavender. And then the red ones are like usually like my more um darker, energetic, trappy type of music. And then the lavender ones are like my more emotional, um feelsy type of music. And I realized like I really love making both of those. And those two colors like are really important to me because they show up a lot in the music that I listen to. So I decided to create this EP to kind of just show the two sides of Juku, alongside something that I'm able to experience all the time, anytime I make music. So The EP is pretty much half Scarlet, the dark energetic side of Juku, and then the other side is Lavender, which is the more dreamy, feelsy type of Juku.
Wow. So does that, do you only get that when you're creating your own songs, or like if you hear something, do you, because it's like colors and shapes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When I listen to other people's music, I definitely hear different colors or see different
See
colors.
different colors.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating to me. Like, so if you played, and now I've got a bunch of questions just on this because it's so I'm
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
interested. But like, if you heard like a specific genre, would you see a certain color with per genre, or it just kind of just depends on the like frequency of the song or whatever?
I feel like it depends on the song. Like when I listen to a lot of I guess knock two stuff,
Mhm.
I see a lot of yellow and like reddish warm hues. I don't know what it is, but that's like the color that it gives off. And then like ISO is probably like green, dark green-ish. I really don't know what's like the meaning behind like the sound. I try to put together like, oh, is it like the metallic part of like the snares that create this color? But uh,
Yeah.
it just lights up and comes to me. So
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know if like you threw on like a country record if you'd see like a specific color. I don't know. Like it's just such a cool. I literally just found out about it like a couple weeks ago. Somebody I was talking to, I don't think they had it. They named a song or an album after it, and when I was researching, I was like, whoa, like this is such a cool thing. But you're the first person I've ever talked to that actually has it.
oh yeah, yeah, that's
Like from an early age, did you notice that you could that you're and you probably just thought like, oh, this is what everyone sees.
it's crazy because I didn't realize it until now. Like I look back on all my visuals and they're either red or purple.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
which is pretty wild. There's some like blue hues and stuff like that, but it's literally mostly red and purple. So
That's interesting.
yeah.
So when you're so with this EP, you recently put out a song called Lock Up, but is that part of the thing? Because that I think that's part of the Scarlet side, right? The
Yeah,
other
yeah.
ones that you have out now that you're talking about it have the lavender purple hue. When it comes to like Without You or Moonlight or No Turning Back, which was the most recent one prior to the one that you just put out. So now are you starting to release the Scarlet side of the EP?
Yeah, exactly. No Turning Back for me was a little bit more of the Scarlet side. It kind of is like kind of a spectrum too,
Mhm.
just because a lot of like Namelle is a really good singer, and she provided so much like contrast to the track, and it was like perfect for my, I guess, transition from the Lavender side of the EP into the Scarlet side, because the drop is like a little bit more on the heavier side.
Mhm.
Uh, and then Lockup is like my balls to the wall, like deep diving into the Scarlet side.
Okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can even see that on the album or on the single cover for No Turning Back. Like it's almost like the whole at that point the whole thing is covered in lavender, but it's almost like you can start to see the hue of red come through. I think it's cool how you did that as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So then once is it split up like in two sides? Like, okay, this is gonna be the lavender side or half split in half. So it's not like gonna go you'll hear one whole, all the lavender songs in a row and then all of the Scarlet songs.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's kind of like a spectrum. Like I'll start with the, I guess, dreamy, energetic songs in the EP, and those are pretty much like the Lavender side. And like No Turning Back is kind of like that middle ground where things start to transition into the
Shift.
darker, more energetic side. And it ends with the heaviest one. I think it ends with Lockup. So
Oh, okay. So you went right into the heaviest one to when it
yeah,
came to releasing singles. Like, okay,
yeah,
and this is where it's headed.
yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Are you doing any like when you perform the EP out, are you gonna just kind of play it intermittent? Like, is there gonna be that arc to the performance as well?
Yeah, I'm definitely I think I'm gonna do reverse. I'm gonna start off with
All
the
right, start off
heavy,
heavy.
Yeah. But usually when I DJ, like I kind of like going in waves of stuff. Like it's
Hmm.
usually like really high energetic in the beginning. Depending on the person I'm playing with. Like if I'm opening for Steve Aoki, like I'll definitely want to bring the energy most of the time.
Right.
But if I'm playing with like someone more on the chill side, like I'll probably cater it to. But for like my EP release party, which is in a couple weeks, I'm probably gonna start off hard and like go in waves and do a little chill, and like I love hopping across genres too.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be fun.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, Juku, for doing this. It was really awesome talking to you and getting to know you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
I have one more question for you before I
Yeah,
let you go. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
advice. I would say just pretty much don't give up and just continue, like even if like you feel really bad about creating, like if you feel like something that you made on today, like you if you feel something that you made today was really crap, like just continue and like just finish it. One thing that really helped me was making one track a day. I did that for like 3 years, and like there were times where like some of the tracks, I'd go a week with like crappy tracks, but I kept going and I kept iterating more and more and kind of found myself. So um yeah, I mean, just keep going and create that volume of consistent production, and you got this.
Bringing it backwards.